Well. You know, I would say I am disappointed, but I did expect immature retaliation. But this is beyond immature. This is just disappointing. I'm not really angry, nor am I really that bothered about it. I just wanted to add a lot more to the original video, and I just wasn't really too pleased with how it came out. Now, I got a copyright strike, and the video has been taken down. I made a video explaining why Meat can't take criticism, and instead of responding to it, or even ignoring it, or just anything of that sort of kind of behavior, you issue a copyright claim. How ironic. One of the main big taboos in this space is abusing copyright. Well, I could waste time explaining how all of that works, but I'll just save everyone the time and get to the point. I cannot re-upload that video. The video itself was so intertwined with Meat's content to the point where if I only removed Meat's content, the video will lack context, and so I deem that to be a lost cause. Furthermore, I must add that I will be going over and adding some stuff from the original video to this video, and I'll explain it all. Last time, I was going for a more comedic, not serious angle as I rushed to get it out for April Fools, even though I missed it. Now, this time, I'm just gonna do what I should have done from the beginning. All the information I have, and every single possible thing I can find about me. That is just detestable. I have been sure to include that and more. But just be warned, because this video is
rated R for retarded.
Let's do a quick recap of the original video I put out. I was going over Meat's video titled The Miserable Project Moon Community, and used that video as a basis in order to launch criticisms about Meat whilst going over Meat's community posts. From how Meat seemingly doesn't like the idea of meta in a single player game, to how he treats his community like they're idiots, talking down to them as if they did something wrong when all they did was like a post he made on YouTube instead of liking his girlfriend's art instead. He's pretentious, annoying, and can't admit when he's wrong at all. And in the video, towards the end of his video, he speaks about political themes in video games, and talking about how some people are too cowardly to talk about them. And I was saying in the video that I just disagree. I already have my own video on the matter, but to put it simply, I just believe media is consumed whilst trying to not impose your own political beliefs on the media itself, and just enjoying it for what it was. And with all that, that just mostly covers what happened in the last video, but most just majorly abbreviated. Seeing how short that coverage was, it just shows me how uninformative the last video I made was. It was mostly slander with the video playing to back me up, but that doesn't excuse it. But let's continue on with this video. There's much to discuss about this pathetic person known as Meat. Meat made this community post. It talks about how he's been living in a bubble of fear, and how he's going to take a hiatus in order to figure it all out, taking steps in order to not let their 20s be remembered as a time where, what a load of bullshit. I can't believe anyone can believe this. Meat is just so naturally dishonest that there's nothing you can really trust about this person. This community post came out not even that long ago. In fact, it's basically the day of the video which I made, and if you factor in time zones, it's pretty much the same day. So, not even 2 days or so later, he launches out a copyright strike in order to prevent himself from hearing any form of criticism from the opposition. Truly, a top 10 character mode moment, I'm sure. This just shows how much of a hypocrite Meat is, and how often he contradicts himself. Additionally, Meat states in the post, honest to God, it's really funny how parasocial some of my subscribers talk to me. Meat, I'm really disappointed in you. Acting like my Alcoholic Anonymous sponsor, watching me relapse after being 5 years clean, and it's actually over a thumbnail. So here, he's trying to get onto his fans for being over-familiar and over-lecturing him. But I wonder where they got this kind of behavior from. Well, from Meat himself, of course. Decided to delete the post featuring my girlfriend's art, as the post itself was getting more attention than her post on Twitter was, which absolutely was not the intention. I'm very disappointed that you all focused more on supporting my post rather than her work itself, and will not be trying that again. Ignoring the condescending phrasing there and just dogshit grammar. It's the same level of parasocial as what Meat was receiving earlier. But there's actually something pretty funny about Meat. You could tell Meat genuinely believes he is a good person. And that's funny because a lot of the posts revolve around taking the moral position above others and deeming them to be in the wrong. All this contributes to the idea that I believe Meat has a superiority complex, and also has quite the fragile ego because he doesn't like people criticizing him. Here's an example, excluding the video takedown, being Limbus Company Season 7 being a burn season. Quite frankly, for those who don't play Limbus, it is most and truly not a burn season. Currently, out of the IDs released in Season 7 so far, at the time of recording this video being 12, including Walpurgis, which was an additional 2 being added, only 2 of them are actually burn identities. Some of the units do inflict some burn, but it'll be disingenuous to call that a burn unit because it just isn't really inflicting that much burn. And there's Kira Ishmael, and she does have an alternate burn kit, but it'll be disingenuous to call that burn too because it takes way too long to start using its burn capabilities. And out of the egos we have gotten this season, including the Battle Pass and Walpurgis, total 6. Out of those, using burn marks 5. So when it comes to egos, you can make the argument that is burn season. But looking at identities, it's just ridiculous to say something like that. We are sure to at least get 2 more burn IDs, however, we may get even more non-burn IDs. So that becomes very well a point of contention in the future. Regardless of the technicalities of all that, the way Meat reacts here to the entire situation is what makes it quite the situation to behold. First is having a video titled Limbus Company Season 7 isn't a burn season, with the thumbnail saying it is. Then there are community posts saying things like, "I'm tired of arguing with people saying it isn't a burn season," and assumes the person in question likes everything wrong in the world. This may be somewhat of a joke, but knowing Meat's whiny, polarizing viewpoints, it may not even be an exaggeration from what he truly believes. He keeps talking about the burn season, providing a suggestion to those who continue to question it if it's ongoing by saying they should be sent to the greater weave where they'll be in stasis for all eternity, calling them chuds. Again, this isn't to say Meat is even being literal with any of this at all, but that's not the point I'm showing this. It's showing how headstrong and one note his takes are. And because of his comment deleting habit and extremely polarizing way of handling debates about the game, the comment section largely lacks anyone that disagrees with Meat's statements. To talk more about how Meat views himself, there's an incident that involved fellow PM tubers S-Goon and Frey when they made a trauma tier list. On Twitter, this became a massive point of contempt, and people got very mad at them for making this tier list. I too joined in the fun, but the point is that in actuality the video isn't that bad. It's just the Project Moon Twitter moral policing as per usual, and it's just a nothing burger. However, what does Meat do? Asks in another YouTube post where all of this seemingly happens. What was the thought process behind it? Trying to put themselves, or I should say himself, above others, trying to act as if even having this idea in the first place was wrong. Mind you, everyone else who isn't in these echo chambers didn't care at all, and underneath the comment section of the video was people even pointing out how ridiculous the complaints about the video was. Meat has also made some remarks about the types of sponsorships that try to reach out to him, and making a point on how anti-Israel he is. This is done for no other reason other than to virtue signal, because not only was it completely irrelevant to start screaming about how anti-Israel you are, and talking about doing your research into it, nobody would have actually have known you were undertaking a sponsorship in the first place. This is like before you run a 100-meter race, you announce very loudly you don't like people using steroids to boost performance. you dislike people cheating in races, and you don't like the state of Israel. Even if you are entitled to your own opinion, there's no logical reason for you to just be launching this stuff out, other than if the reason is that you want others to know that you did this. Ironically enough, your anti-Israel sentiments has led to some people questioning if you may potentially be anti-Semitic or not. Let's try to remember, the state of Israel and those in control of it, and the people of Israel are two different things. Meat likely meant the state of Israel, and not just all Israeli/Jewish people. However, it is still pretty funny to just see how some people may bring this up in the future. There's also the added hypocrisy in that somebody brought up how Israel is actually pro-Israel, and instead of following the logic that he put out and saying that he'll never take any pro-Israel sponsorships, he instead just uses YouTube anyway, making the entire statement meaningless. Next, we have this YouTube post here that details how Meat doesn't like it when people are talking about him in a negative light. The statement goes as follows: "Won't say I didn't bring it on myself, but honest to God, it's never a good feeling of joining a Discord server and then seeing me, not even a part of the conversation, get unrelated hatred. I've stepped down from controversial opinion work and lazy slideshows. I'd like to see you do better, LeMayo, on YouTube, and I'm actively trying to change my content to be more focused on my genuine passion for these games, highlighting what I love and what I would like to see changed. Acting as though one interaction or one video I have defines my entire character is incredibly ignorant. I understand if you don't like my content. I don't need you to, since I like what I make, and I am proud of it. However, to take what I create as a reflection of who I am and all I am out to be is a fool." The ending part there says, "of who I am and all I am out to is to be a fool." Yeah, that was like not really proper English, so my brain was autocorrecting it. Anyway, let's deconstruct this statement for a moment. What exactly is Meat talking about? Well, with that last part there, I don't know. I guess he just had one of those "I'm 14 and I'm deep" moments. The rest of the statement talks about how he has stepped down from controversial opinion work and calling people ignorant for letting one video define his character. This just reeks of fragile ego behavior. For starters, Meat, there is no contradiction in forming a negative opinion of you and still watching multiple videos of you. You're intentionally framing it in that way so that people who only watch one video of you have a negative opinion of you and don't really know your content that well, or isn't as familiar with your content, when that just isn't the case. It's extremely arrogant to assume that people just wouldn't think bad of you when they watch you, even in good faith. Talking about his slideshow style videos, his earlier videos had an even lower production than they do now, and it was actually on a PowerPoint, quite literally. I would show it, but Meat will just abuse copyright and strike me again. So you can either check out the channel or just take my word for it. If you notice a lot of the problems I'm identifying are coming from YouTube posts and comments, there's actually two reasons for this. Number one, Meat basically vents out most things going on in their life on YouTube posts. There are a lot of pretty embarrassing details on here and how they got assaulted at work by a child because, they worked as a teacher before and was having a meltdown over it. Or how they're complaining about unemployment and just more details like that. And the second reason that I'm unable to contact or confirm any of this information anywhere else. Meat made a post talking about how if people wanted to use this content, they can just ask. The question is how? Where? If you ask in the YouTube comment section, your comment can just get deleted. You can't even join the Discord server because Meat just doesn't really let anyone in there for free. And even me, I got denied entry because I was pathetic. This was a while ago, before I even made the Wrong Think video. Way before a lot of stuff, so Meat wouldn't really have a reason to hate me specifically. Hell, I'm not even sure if even was this year since I tried to get in that server. But I bet I was denied entry due to me being in Ultranum server. Why, you ask? It's kind of obvious when you think about it. Meat doesn't like Ultranum, and keeps having a one-sided beef with Ultranum. Ultranum is a PM tuber that does ID reviews and team building, and talks about more technical aspects of the game. Why doesn't Meat like Ultranum? Because Ultranum has takes that go against the way Meat thinks, and instead of doing the mature thing and talking it out, debunking it, Meat decides to launch pitiable attacks from his YouTube posts, and he makes them vague intentionally for plausible deniability. It's such a pathetic showing, and an example of this is when Ultranum talks about the burn team and Envy Res.
But all of her burn is locked behind getting a triple envy resonance, which is the only way to obtain thermal blades. The fact that actually turns Kira Ishmael into a burn identity. Now technically, you can get a triple envy resonance in burn, as a standard burn team can run Liu Yisang and Yu Heathcliff, 2 units with envy skills. However, in the case of Yisang, his only envy skill is his skill 3, which you get to see exactly once every rotation. This isn't helped by the fact that thermal blades are locked behind a passive that requires 3 envy owned, meaning, at best, Ishmael will start inflicting burn on turn 4.
And Meat makes another YouTube post talking about how they thought Envy Res wasn't possible. This is how you know how low IQ Meat really is. Ultranum never said this at all. In my previous video, I talked about how Meat was creating strawmen about the community and acting as if he made good arguments. This appears to be one of those moments. Ultranum himself talks about how it's possible, just unlikely. What makes me think this post is even referring to Ultranum, I see people asking. Well, not only does the video release date and when Meat makes this comment match up, but Meat changed the thumbnail of one of his videos in order to make a mockery of Ultranum. Well, as it stands right now, it's changed to something else, but during a short period of time, it read, "You like incest, little bro? La Female! Thanks for the views!" How is this relevant to Ultranum? Well, it's been an ongoing controversy that allegedly Ultranum supports incest and is also pushing P. There have been many negative rumors about Ultranum, but to address this claim directly is referring to somebody posting a Don Quixote ex Sancho ship. Ultranum's neutral approach to this has led to people to believe that he supports incest, to address some of the things for those who aren't in the know. And spoilers for Canto 7 Limbus Company for anyone that cares. I'll just leave this timestamp here to skip it, but the character we know as Don Quixote is actually revealed to not be her name at all, but instead was the name of the shoes that she always spotted wearing. Well, it turns out that our Don isn't exactly human, and those shoes seal away the blood fiend qualities of her when she takes off the shoes, and she goes back into blood fiend mode when she fully takes it off. What is a blood fiend is just a vampire with extra steps. Her real name is Sancho, and the person that turned her into a blood fiend is Don Quixote, which is referenced to be her father. Bottom line is, it isn't actually her biological father, but still, it does have that kind of dynamic. So it isn't really incest. If you play the games, you'll know that, but this is just a further agendas, I suppose. I'm never going to get into the morality of going into fictional incest. Just know that the claim Meat is making is just bullshit. There are likely more claims like this throughout Meat's YouTube posts, but I'm not going to dig on those posts for any longer than I have to. And who knows what's going on in that Discord server of his. But all that aside, this wouldn't be a video about Meat if I didn't address the elephant in the room. Meat is a transgender person, MTF, meaning male to female. He even put his pronouns on the front page of his channel, and is quite open about it. Typically when talking about the bad parts about people, this sort of thing just wouldn't matter. However, it's how they carry themselves with this fact, and that is just what makes Meat completely and absolutely intolerable. First thing we can do is bring up Meat's older videos intro, which was back in the PowerPoint days. It used to begin with the first slide that looked something like this. My name is Ness, short for Vanessa. My pronouns are she, it, they. I prefer no masculine terms, including dude/bro. Please respect that or get out of my video. This is a mini-series where I cover IDs I don't often talk about, and my appreciation for them, going over their particular strengths or weaknesses and what makes them well designed, in my opinion, not yours. While the aim is to talk about only one ID per video to make these short and sweet, I might mention another here and there to show my appreciation. I will discuss team compositions they work in, and all claims made are assuming that they are in the best composition for them. Ignoring how Meat is basically just saying here he is pushing his opinion on you, Meat is also just throwing out pronouns at the beginning of the video without even getting into anything yet. Of course, I can't play this video because Meat may in fact copyright strike me again, but just know that this used to happen in a lot of his older videos. But this isn't the only time transgenderism was brought up with Meat, with many different videos and even more comments complaining about people not using the correct pronouns and misgendering him. Truth be told, part of the reason is that he sounds like a grown-ass man, and his voice is even deeper than mine. It's just a cognitive dissonance, and people struggle to even process that Meat is meant to be a woman. I could leave it there, but that wouldn't entirely justify bringing it up in this video still. There was a recent unit that came out in Nimbus Company known as Lobotomy Ego, Fate Aroma and Solitude Ryoshu, which is sometimes known as Aromashu or Fashu by some. Regardless, it's a habit of the community to name all these new identities we get of the sinners and shorten their name due to the fact that it's literally just alternate universe versions of the characters. So we can't just say the name Ryoshu because it's going to be referring to all the different versions of the same character. So Meat has a proposition for what we can call this new unit, stating, "It's so funny that people don't want to call the new Ryoshu ID Transhu so bad, and they call it some tacky stuff like Alrini Rushu or Alrinushu, however you say that, which is double the syllables and doesn't roll off the tongue." Now, this may look like an honest take, but they are trying to push the transgender stuff onto Ryoshu simply because of their color palette. And they make additional posts talking about how the trans stuff is real. If we played the same game with other units, we will find out that Honglu has black and red, and also some white. I wonder what kind of flag has all of that. But, is that it? I ran out on information on Meat. Just like that? Well, I guess that's it. I gotta pack my bags and... Huh? What's this? Oh. Yes! Yes! Absolute gluttony residence! My sources have granted me a ton of images, and some are from the Meat server that even I wasn't allowed in. So let me go over some of this new stuff, and let me present it in this video. Meat's Discord name in some of these photos is Nazi Killer 455. Typical, honestly. And let's go over some of these conversations, shall we? Here is an image of Meat complaining about being made fun of for their pronouns, and about the pronoun debt. The debt is attached to his livestream, saying that people should pay him money via PayPal or Cash App or whatever it was, whenever they misgender him. Here is a community post saying how Meat tells people to kill themselves for misgendering him, saying that is not a privilege and it's a right. Meat. Buddy, that's not how the law works. I mean, I could tell you don't know how the law works because you copyrighted my video, but that just worked to my advantage, because if you hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have bothered trying to make a video going in this depth. But as you can see with Meat, he is pretty much like a man-child out of control. And now we can go over some of the screenshots I have from his server. It highlights the rules. You could take the time to read all of this, but the main takeaways are the misgendering thing again, and the art thing. We'll be talking more about the gender thing first, as according to what I have been saying this entire time, his ego is insanely fragile, and his view of himself even more so. The idea that someone misgenders him irritates him so much to the point of it being baked into the server rules. It's pretty funny because Meat still behaves in a very masculine manner more often than not, even talking about nuts on face or whatever. And he even did a thing where he voice acted as Gregor, a male character from Limbus Company, and still gets pity when people call him a man. Truly a pitiful existence. The femboy thing about it being used to sexualize transgender people. What an egotistical person. Not only is that just not what femboy even is, but with all due respect, you are not what people have in mind when femboy is said. When it comes to the fan art take, nothing unique, but what gets me is the way they treat the audience and members of the Discord server. Past me has it from here. I don't know. Also, Meat goes on to say that someone else has reposted his art or something and gave that person popularity instead of me. Pig story didn't happen, bro. I don't believe you. I just don't. In my case, yeah, such things have happened. I've seen that my stuff used everywhere. People trying to credit me intentionally. Do you see me whining about it? No, it's just kind of funny to me. Like, yeah, I like to be credited and be known for it, but it's not worth having a meltdown like this nigga does. Especially in this nigga's community posts. Like, wah, wah, wah. How can a nigga live like this? Like, jeez, bro, always crying about some shit. My girlfriend isn't getting enough likes and posts in the credits, guys. You don't give her enough credits. You don't get enough likes. I can't believe people are supporting my girlfriend. I can't believe people are supporting my girlfriend. Like, holy shit, bro. Your girlfriend isn't entitled to anything. And in this other community post, in order to say that you're responsible for a notorious art poster for stopping, oh my. Let's continue on with the video. The final thing I'd like to mention is how Meat keeps on trying to emphasize that politics should be allowed to be discussed and talked about. It's in the rules and it was in the video I was analysing too. But if you've been paying attention to what I've actually been saying across the entirety of this video, then you would know that Meat doesn't actually mean this in a well-meaning way. He doesn't want politics to be discussed in order to have contrasting views and better introspection. He just simply wants people to nod along with his political views. And if you don't, you're Hitler. Watch out, the Nazi killer 445 is going to get you. Anyways, that should do it for the video. I covered everything I wanted to cover, and seriously don't want to keep spending more of my free time on Meat. So, I should also mention that somebody made a very spirited rant about Meat at length, and you can go ahead and read it if you want. I included it here, not only as he's helped me to get a lot of stuff on Meat, but has just been quite useful when it comes to making talking points as well. So, with all that done, I guess you could say, this meat is cooked. Yeah, I'm not really proud of that one, just let me go.